I thank you for watching. Thank you for always watching my awkward pauses. And I'm so happy to have Sharell Weeams here with me today. She was another participant of the pre-launch plan 1.0. And I'm so excited for you to be here. So Sharell, tell us all about you, what you do, all the things.
Sure, absolutely. Well, thank you for having me here. I'm excited to tell people about the pre-launch program because it was absolutely amazing. So my name is Sharell Weeams, and I'm a business growth and sales strategist, helping coaches and course creators make more money online using one-to-many sales strategies that work. And I've honed my own kind of signature sales method that I teach my clients called Winning Workshop Weeks. And that's the strategy that I teach in order to help people enroll clients by the dozens without using fancy slide decks or video scripts or spending hours and hours creating pre-recorded videos or DMing strangers on the internet. So that's what I do. That's kind of my background, marketing and sales.
I love it. I always say like doing things like slideshows like hurt my soul. Like I do them sometimes and I have some and I'm always glad when they're done, the ones that I do, but it's just like, I love that, like to enroll clients without a slideshow. Like you say that and I'm in, right?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit, because you are a very experienced marketer. You've worked with amazing people. I was actually on your website and I was like, wow, like you've done so many cool things. And like, because you also talk about launching, like tell us about like your launch experience. And I think too, we can kind of wrap that question into like, because you are an experienced launcher, like what attracted you to do this program with me?
Sure, great question. So yeah, I mean, I have a extensive experience in launching. I would probably say from like May 2020 to, I don't know, October 2021, I probably launched a good 9 times because I do, the kind of launch stacking, launch cycling, type thing. And so I have a lot of experience in launching, and I've tried a lot of different strategies, from, webinars and webinars automated, but my favorite is the Winning Workshop Week strategy that I teach, which is kind of like an amalgamation of, some of the strategies that I've tried that have really worked for me. But I can tell you, and even as a part of the strategy that I teach my clients, we talk about pre-launch, right? Because I mean, obviously, that is like an integral, or maybe depending on who you ask, one of the most important parts of the entire launch process. But even as someone who talks about it and teaches it as a part of my overall strategy, it really is like a piece of the puzzle versus really going in depth. So in my previous launches, I'd probably spend 90% of the time on the actual launch content and the sales page and all of those things that kind of go along with it. And the pre-launch strategy is more, it turns into like an afterthought. It's kind of like, okay, now I actually have to fill and get people there for the big event. So the actual like pre-launch strategy is almost like an afterthought. It's something that I do in addition to. And so I think what really attracted me to doing the pre-launch, plan program when you talked about it was, I felt like I always knew it was one of those things, like every time I'm going to go back and I'm going to refine the pre-launch process, and I'm going to go a little bit deeper and I'm going to plan it out. But each and every time I'm refining and perfecting the actual launch content and the launch strategy and the sales content and sales strategy. And I always kind of neglect that. And so I really like that this program, it gives you an opportunity to really go a lot deeper, like more in depth in what we're actually, into that pre-launch strategy and get everything kind of planned and mapped out so that it's not an afterthought, So that's what really kind of attracted me to doing the pre-launch program.
I love that. And I think I always say like Sharell and I are like the dream team, right? If you're looking, because I'm helping you with your pre-launch, and then Sharell has her Winning Workshop Weeks, which is that launch event right beforehand that really kind of gets everyone super excited. So I love that. Can you talk about like once you were in the program, like what were some of your thoughts? What was your overall experience?
Yeah. So, I mean, the overall experience was, it was great, one, having other people going through the program with you. Like I learned a lot from other people who were in the program, like, because I don't know what it is. I think, like always kind of attracts like, and so there's, other people in there who kind of had a sales and marketing background. And, we would kind of, talk about, things that we would hear from our customer. I'd be like, oh, like that's a good one, so being able to kind of hear that from other people as well was really helpful for me. But I think for me, I think one of the biggest things, that I know my clients, and I'm sure probably your clients struggle with as well, is it's the overwhelm and, feeling exhausted, when they're going through their, their launch process. But for me, being able to actually sit down and get everything mapped out ahead of time, I'm all about like increasing ease and enjoyment. And so I feel like going through this process really helped me like be able to like increase that tenfold, because again, we're not waiting to the last minute to try to, get that content and stuff mapped out. So being able to go through the process of like, okay, this week, focus on this, create, talk to your customers, do the voice of customer, and get the information from them. It really helped me a lot. And also I will say that I feel like I know and understand my ideal client better than I ever have before. We hear a lot of people, and even I talk about it, right? It's just like we hear all the time, like you don't have to, like if your zone of genius is not marketing, like you don't have to be a marketing genius or a sales genius if you actually just understand what your customers like, use their words, like they will tell you what to say. And we hear that all the time, but I will tell you, actually going through the steps that you tell us to do inside of the program, it actually made me dig a lot deeper than I had before. And I don't know, it just feels amazing to be like, I don't have to make anything up. Like, this is what they say. I know this is what they want. These are the words that I need to use. So it really just takes a lot of the pressure and stuff off of me. And then of course, having your genius, like through the experience, like being, having your eyes be able to look at the content that I create, to me, that's like just completely invaluable. I mean, without the price tag of one-on-one, it almost feels like one-on-one, like being able to get your feedback on, and to review our content and stuff that we put out. So, I mean, it's been a great experience so far.
Oh, thank you. I love that. I love what you said too about the experience, because I think that is something that's that I love about this, is like you have the group. And then I love going through these interviews, because of hearing the same thing, even me, helps me with my voice of customer, right? So it's like listening and hearing everyone's experience that it's over. And I think that is the thing that I hear so much, is like, okay, not only getting my feedback, but like the group's feedback. And then everyone, there was people in there, and it's not just like sales and marketers. We had all different types of people. So it's like, it was very interesting, I think, to get other people's viewpoints. And I love it too, as like a facilitator, because then it's not all just resting on me. It's like this collective group of people going through this process. And I really love that. And I know too, with us going through all of the content and doing feedback, like did you feel like getting the feedback kind of helped you keep moving ahead?
Yeah, that's another thing too. The accountability, that was actually big for me throughout the program, because I mean, let's just face it, we get busy with life, like life happens, things come up. And so, but yeah, I think like, especially like when to me, that's the value of having like a timeline on a program, because you have some programs where it's like they stretch out a long time over time. And then you have some that are, a little bit more, condensed or, compressed, a compressed timeline. And I think the value of really that goes along with that is just like, okay, it holds you accountable to get the stuff done, because that, okay, your time is running out. And that's kind of like, I decided I enjoyed the pre-launch program so much, that I decided to kind of continue on with Brenna working, just in her another capacity. And so I know for me, it's just kind of like, okay, we've got a month and a half left. I got to get to work and get it done, because again, the value of like having you look at that, like that, it would just be a shame to waste it. It would be a shame to waste that.
Yeah, I think I tried to build into the program when I thought it through. Of course, it was a bit of an experiment the first time around, right? But it was like, okay, how can I help people stay accountable, but still give space where it's not like, Oh my gosh, and that's why I built in like the implementation weeks.
Yeah.
So I like hearing when my hunches were right. Is
Yes.
there is there any? I know you may have already brought it out, but is there like one part that really stands out to you as like your overall favorite part of going through the program?
I would probably say for me, like my overall favorite part was, again, I think it just launches, people think, I mean, when, again, for me doing my voice of customer research, and I know ours overlaps a lot, you know, when you mention the word launch, it's, that they're stressful and exhausting and overwhelming for some people. But I think what people don't realize is that it doesn't have to be that way if you actually just kind of, if you like do the pre-launch program, or like do the pre-launch plan, actually get the content and information out. So I know for me, my favorite part was really just actually being able to map everything out, because I didn't have it. Like I said, the launch content, the sales content, I tend to focus on that, just, maybe because that's just the most fun, it's like, well, and that's the part that most people, people are more looking forward to, like the actual launch event or whatever that is. So I spend more time on that. But actually just being able to, like, okay, I actually have documents where it's like, this is what I'm talking about on this week, and this is what I'm posting about on this week, and these are what I'm doing my stories about on this week. And being able to have that in hand, like as a complete like document, is, I don't know, to me, that's the main thing that I wanted out of this program. So I feel like that's worth everything. Yeah.
Woohoo, we delivered. That makes me super happy. That you, especially knowing that's like, what was really important to you.
Yeah.
And I agree. There's something about just knowing what you're going to talk about, and
Yeah.
it's just, and then you're not worried or stressed. And I also think it allows you, at least from my own, I'm like in my pre-launch right now, it allows you to iterate too. Like, okay, I was going to talk about this, but I'm hearing this, I'm going to tweak this now. And I know I've seen, like, I did a email this week, which was, I had like my first like nasty Instagram comment. And so I was like, oh, this is like so great. Like, I'm just going to incorporate this in because
Yeah.
this is too good not to. So I love that. Um, and I think I was going to ask like what your results are, but I think for you, because I know you haven't actually launched yet because, the
Mhm.
program didn't end that long ago, you're going into it. Do you feel like your biggest result then is having this all planned out?
Yeah, I would say like my biggest results is, one, again, I kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier, but just understanding my ideal client more. I mean, the better that you understand your ideal client, honestly, I mean, the better the results that you get. I mean, that it's everything. Being able to use their messaging. I mean, you get to think a lot less. It's just like you really, I mean,
Makes
you don't
content
have to get as
planning, it makes
creative.
everything easier, right? Yeah.
Exactly. You just take their words and put them on paper, and they're going to resonate with it. Like, it's not, it doesn't, you don't have to be a copywriting genius when you do that. So I think being able to understand them deeper than I ever have before, being able to nail, their language and words, not feeling like, because sometimes I feel like I mean, I think we feel like, especially like on that kind of first, go round, if you're launching something new. I've launched a lot of different things, but this time I'm taking a piece of my program out and kind of relaunching it. So the audience kind of shifts a little bit, and I don't feel like I'm making it up, because I've actually really studied what my ideal clients have said. And again, as far as like, the results of just like, I just feel like this is going to be such an easy, stress-free launch, because again, all the content is mapped out, and then, yeah, it just leads to less stress and overwhelm. So I just kind of feel like my big things are like understanding my ideal client, having all the content mapped out, and really having their language. It just all makes my job easier, which I think is kind of what we're all shooting for.
Right. I love that. I think too, and I feel like we're totally on the same wavelength today, because even my email that I sent was that I talked about how when you like the hater, what I basically said was like it didn't frazzle me as much as
Mhm.
like it normally would, since I'm a people pleaser deep down. But the fact that I knew what I said was like what my audience needed to hear, right? Like so it was like I was something I stood behind in my own values. But when you know it's something your audience needs to hear, it's like, okay, that I'm okay with it because I know I'm on the right path.
Yeah,
So I really love that.
100%.
Um, so like for anyone who's like thinking, okay, maybe should I do this program? Should I not? What would you say?
Yeah, I guess I would just, I would in turn just kind of ask you a question back. Do you want to sell more of your offers? Yes, then I would join the program. And that's just, and that's not even just blowing smoke. I mean, again, I'm a career-long marketer, business developer, sales expert of 15 years. This is kind of my background and what I do. And I've launched over 9 times and have generated, multiple six figures in launch results. But even I can see that really spending time on this, really just investing the time and doing it up front is going to, double, triple the results that I get even from running the same launches that I always run, just by spending more time on this up front, because it's really important, especially in the market that we're in today, to like really, people are more skeptical, there's a lot of uncertainty. So that kind of filters through people's buying habits as well. So the more that you understand them, the more that you can prime, your buyer, the more that you can kind of move them from the buyer journey, like understanding where they are now to where they want to go, and help move them there through your content, it's only going to result in more sales. So again, the question is, if you want to sell more of your offers, then I would do the program.
Well, there's no better way to say it. So thank you, Sharell, for coming on with me. I'm so thankful. And for anyone who's interested, the pre-launch plan program officially opens Wednesday. We have a masterclass. Everyone in the Facebook group, I'll be telling you more about it. So thank you so much, and I appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thank you. And again, I think I glossed over this earlier too. Having Brenna's eyes on your content, second to none. So I'm just going to leave that thought there, but okay. All right. Thanks, Brenna.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Bye.